Good afternoon and welcome, and we'd like to call to order the meeting of the Rutherford County Benefits and Insurance Committee. And our first agenda item, you have a copy of the minutes, I believe, before you. Do we have a motion considering those minutes approval? Motion, second, Ms. Ely. Did anyone have any corrections or additions? If not, then all of you in favor of that, please say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That's unanimous as usual. Mrs. Stinson, will you give us a financial report, please?
Yes, sir. We'll begin with Fund 264, reviewing the month of April. During the month of April, our self-funded claims per employee per month was $768.81. Our current year-to-date is $873.11 compared to the prior year-to-date average of $820.97. Whenever we combined our on-site medical clinic experience, our total per employee per month increases to $804.27 compared to prior year of $949.11 for a year-to-date average of $908.24 compared to prior year of $856.51. So we're seeing about a 6% increase year over last. Moving on to Fund 266, ending in the month of April, we're at $1,418,755 compared to the prior year of $648,450. And again, we have had some abnormal payments contributing to the $1.4 million that's been spent through this reporting period.
So, Ms. Stinson, if we remove the unusual payments, what would be our year-to-date number approximately?
It would probably, and Ms. Nolan helped me out with this, it would probably be somewhere around $500,000 is my guess. Would you agree with that?
So 500 versus 648 last year or thereabouts.
Correct, right. We would be lower than our last year.
Okay.
I have a question. Does those unusual payments close out anything?
No, they it's ongoing medical for an old claim. So it would be reasonable to expect to see at certain points we may see an abnormal increase like this periodically.
Okay, any other questions about the financial reports? Okay, if there are no other questions in that regard, we'll call on Mr. Dan Good to give us an update on the workers' comp and OJI statistics.
Good afternoon. I'd like to report for the month of April that we had a total of 16 injuries requiring medical attention. That brings the total up to 71 for the year from the 1st of January. Of those 71, 39 were recordable under OSHA standards, 29 of them were restricted days, 8 lost time days, and 3 all others. If you look at the next page of the graph, you'll see this year as compared to the 2 previous years. And while we are up slightly from last year, the type of injuries are less critical, so they're not as bad as what we would experience. And you'll see that in the incurred dollars when we get there. The net incurred dollars for the month were $26,343. The Board of Education had 12 of the injuries, and their total incurred dollars were $19,200, and the County General had 4 injuries. The total dollars there were $7,143. And then the next page of your report, you'll notice where those 4 were within the County General between the different 3 different departments there. In the last page of your report, you'll notice the total incurred dollars so far for the year compared to 2012, same time in 2012, we had $202,000. Last year was $145,000, and I said the incurred dollars are down this year at $106, and that's strictly because the injuries are not quite as severe right now. But of course, those dollars are still young, still need to mature some. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goodin. There are
Thank
no
you.
questions, and the trend is favorable. Wellness update from Ms. Kelly Perrion.
Hi, afternoon. The MedPoint Clinic is doing some Wellness Wednesdays where they go out, like an outreach, where they go out to schools, and they did their first one to Stewart's Creek Elementary this on the 14th, and they had 25 people. They're in attendance. They're taking a nurse practitioner out there and doing some specific topics. This last one was on seasonal allergies. So it's just a way that they have developed a program to get some outreach within the school and to try to increase participation in the clinic. We had 20 total coaching individual visits with 4 new patients at the MedPoint Clinic. And upcoming activities for June, the Superhero Striders for Cystic Fibrosis 5K and Fun Run is June 7th. The Main Street Farmers Market opens downtown the square on June 7th as well. June Dairy Day is 6/11 at Lane Agri Park. And Life Services webinar is Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? And it's about communication strategies for couples. And you can register online and watch that at 11 or 1 o'clock on the 17th. Or they have recorded, but they keep their archived recorded versions. So if that isn't a good time for you, you can go and log on to it anytime. Anybody have any questions?
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kelly. Appreciate that. I guess it's never too late for any of us to watch this last webinar that she mentioned there, so maybe all of us could take note of that. Okay, now we'll talk about pre-65 retirees, and we're going to let Ms. Stinson direct us in that discussion.
I'm sure that you all feel like this subject just keeps reinventing itself every couple of months. It has been March since the last discussion.
Ms. Stinson, we might could just let, the reason this is on this agenda is because our finance director has brought something to your attention. We might let her explain
Yes,
this.
that's true. We'll blame Lisa for this. Whenever the language was created for the retirees, which you have in front of you, the Rutherford County Retirement Medical Plan Eligibility and Benefit Information, 5-6 years ago, whenever these GASB discussions began, kind of where this document landed originally was the money for those individuals who retired with less than 15 years of service, or up to the 7 years of service, would get a monthly amount put into an HSA. Well, we learned early this year that that was not a feasible solution because the HSA would not be attached to a high deductible health plan. So we brought the proposal back that said, let's just pay them X amount of money. We provided you all with a presentation on why this was the right decision, and allow them to take that money and do with it however they see to fund their health care. Well, then Ms. Nolan, as the mayor pointed out, went to a conference not long ago where some lawyers were present and explained that if we do that, it becomes a pension liability, which obviously raised some hairs on the back of the neck. And we looked into it and talked to our actuary and some other people, which we had done previously in our prior discussions, and they confirmed that yes, there is information out there now that says it becomes a pension liability. And certainly we don't want to bring any more liability to the county in that way. So we sought other solutions. And what we have landed on and what we've brought for you today, and I don't foresee that this would change, is doing a standalone HRA for these individuals in this category, as well as for those pre-65s who opt to take the monthly amount from the county rather than participating on the health plan beginning 2015. they would go into a standalone HRA. Now, on the standalone HRA, they would have a debit card, just like a FSA card now. They can pay for their insurance premiums from that. They can pay for vision benefit, coverage, glasses, things like that, dental, and other eligible medical expenses. So although the county will probably see a loss in participation because we won't just send out the monthly amount to them in a taxable payroll type form, there will still be some advantage to people to move from our plan if they're a pre-65 and take the monthly amount into an HRA account versus remaining on the medical plan. So I still think there is a winning solution for those individuals. As an example, they can do the vision and the dental, which right now they have to opt for the dental coverage. They may, decide to self-fund that versus actually carrying dental COBRA once they retire. And then they could also use it for their glasses because they don't have vision at retirement. So that would be another advantage for them, and they can still pay for their medical premiums through that. So we have brought for you to make a decision on if you are in agreement for changing the language on this document, as well as for those pre-65s beginning in 2015, having an HRA established by the county for them in the amount that we have determined so that they can pay all eligible medical expenses through that HRA. If we leave it the way it is designed currently, the option would be for us to cut them a check monthly, which is taxable income to them, and it becomes a pension benefit, which we will have to track.
If I'm reading this correctly, does it just affect the first two groups of this tier, the less than 6 months of service and the 6 months to 7 years?
As it pertains to this document, the second piece of that is the pre-65s beginning in 2015, where they will have the option to elect to come off the plan that one time and then get back on within 30 days once they become Medicare eligible. It would affect that population as well.
Mr. Sandvig.
And the dollars in these, are they HRA accounts or HSA accounts?
HRA.
In the HRA accounts, they would be able to accumulate.
Yes, they would be able. Yes, they would be able to accumulate year to year. Correct. There's a specific retiree piece, and Miss Jeannie is here, Herndon from Cigna, to help answer any questions we have on that. They have a specific structure for the retirees at Cigna as it pertains to this HRA standalone. For our actives, they can only roll over so much. It works a little different for the retirees.
Have we had anyone yet retire who fits in one of these categories?
No, not yet, no.
And Ms. Stinson, how many dollars would we put in this HRA for them each year?
$500.
So the same amount
That was previously passed per month, yes.
per month.
Which is less than the match, right?
Correct. Of the premium, correct. And it removes, obviously, the claims liability that we have it when they remain on the plan.
And what are the negatives that you see for us doing this? What, from an employee viewpoint, does anyone have an idea what the difficulty may be, if any?
I'd asked that question as well, and one of the questions that I'd asked was, what are the ramifications for this? And there really wasn't anything that I got back from Cigna or in talking with the broker. I think that because it is an HRA, and we know this with the employees themselves, of course, this is a little bit different. The concept of an HRA, makes people a little bit nervous. That's why some of our folks still didn't have checking accounts. They like to get that check. It's that, money in the hand type control. So I think that it will take a lot of education and training. We'll have to do special open enrollment meetings with this population to get them comfortable with, okay, what does this really mean to me, and how easy can I get that $500? But when we show them the list of eligible expenses and talk to them about the ease of, either manually filing the claim or using their card to just swipe for services. As long as they will come to the meeting or read the information that we send them, then it should be easy to overcome.
Is the HRA, is that $6,000, is that pre-tax? So, I mean, would that really be, that right now, we're getting taxed for every money that the retirees, you said no way in that category, I was saying, right now, the way it's set, they would have to pay income taxes.
Because it was a payroll function, they would pay income taxes. No, I have not received any information that says, have you, that it would be taxable.
So it would save the employee.
Correct. They would actually end up netting more money, I think is your point, is that they would end up netting more money by using the HRA. And I did ask, could, if they went on their spouses, could that medical plan premium be deducted through the HRA? And I was told yes, so we don't lose that, and that was one of the advantages as well. Plus, it's eligible expenses within their family so that they can use their HRA for. So I really think that, and looking at the spend rate in our pre-65s, there's definitely a lot of claims out there that they are incurring that could absorb that expense, either their pharmacy or their medical or other services that they receive in addition to the premiums.
Okay, so Ms. Stinson, you've changed the language over there on these first two, the less than 6 months and the 6 months to 7. That's the only language change
Yes, sir.
that we have here on these papers.
Right. We just changed that to read from a monthly stipend, which is taxable, to what you see in front of you. And then on our promotional pieces, we will include similar language for the current pre-65s.
When did you say this would be effective?
This would become effective, this change right here would become effective on 7/1.
7/1, okay.
And then the changes for the pre-65s would be January 1, because that's when we'll begin to offer that benefit.
Okay. Well, you've heard this discussion. What's the wishes of the committee? Mr. Sandvig? All right, you move to approve the changes that have been suggested with respect to changing it from a stipend to a HRA process, with the same monies being placed in the HRA account. Second from Mr. Hall. Other discussion? All right, there not being any other discussion, all of you in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Now, Mrs. Stinson, any other business, or anyone on the committee have any other business?
Just a couple of things. In talking to some of the committee members today, I just want to give you information as, we talk about what we'll be doing for the remainder of the year, what's in front of us. I will be coming to you probably in August requesting permission to bid the clinics. It's that time again. So we'll be going through a clinic bid for a contract effective date of 9/1/2015. So we have that in front of us coming up. We had, in the March meeting, asked for more information about the retirees and their spouses who are on the plan. Later in the year, we'll have discussions about that. We're still waiting on the actuarial numbers. And then, before you know it, we'll be talking about premiums again. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We may have some other small bids as well, but as far as big items in front of us, that's really the two things coming up that we'll be dealing with, other than our standard things.
And how long has our current clinic provider been in place?
They've been in place since 2011.
So 3 years already. Okay. All right, any other questions? We don't really know quite how to act with a meeting only lasting 22 minutes now. We've gone from
We give and we
hours
take,
to-
right? That's how we keep you all coming back.
If you don't have any other business, then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.